Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to this episode. Today we have a special guest here, Fabian Ratsak.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
And we decided to have a go on guitar heroes, which is a tough
decision, yes.
But you know, we know each other for maybe 2 years
some time,
So, and Fabian is famous for being kind of a YouTube, Facebook, Instagram star.
That's the stuff I'm doing.
Yeah.
Star, yeah. I try to be.
Yeah, no, he's a very cool player, very tasty player, and I think it's we can learn a lot from you. I mean, it's entertaining to watch your videos, but I can see always the topics that you deal with are the topics that I really enjoy myself as well.
Thanks so much.
And yeah, so I thought it's cool to invite you to talk about, you know, my heroes, your heroes, and kind of decode some of the secrets.
Yes.
And maybe I do my little story about the guitar heroes.
Oh yes, that's good.
I have, you know, Joe Satriani to me is a typical guitar hero. He is a super brilliant technician. What he's playing on the guitar, the chops, sounds flashy, sounds expensive. And how to make something sound expensive is an art by itself. I mean, some of the stuff is actually not as hard as it seems. And that's the good news for you guys, because sometimes it could be frustrating. If you think, I will never get this lick, I will never get that technique, and you know, but here is my lesson, okay. And this comes from my background, giving seminars and teaching. I have a simple thing. My creed is, there's a German child tune which is called Alle, meine Entchen, okay?
Yes.
And this is like, in G.
Yes,
I do it in
sorry,
G.
yes.
Okay. No? Okay. So this is a G major scale, basically. So, okay. How to make this more expensive sounding is you move the bass note to C. And then you go.
Sounds nice now. Yes.
It's not a cheesy child melody anymore. And all I have done, I changed the bass note. So this is the trick about the modes.
Yes.
Okay. And the good thing for the guitar hero is the hero doesn't have to practice anything. He still plays Alle, meine Entchen. And
just change the chords.
Just changing the chords. So if you play, we all know that song. Stay there. See, so I still play Alle, meine Entchen, and you just make it sound expensive.
Yes, because of the chords.
And the next trick is, since we are G major playing, we also play like a blues scale, a standard pentatonic in E. Because this is the same thing here.
Yes.
Can you, just...
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So with a little bit more gain, you know,
Yeah,
it's
sure,
easier.
sure.
So
And also don't forget he's using a lot of this, like you did already, whammy bar and stuff
okay,
like this.
and now we combine the Alle, meine engine, which means I play the full major scale and all my pentatonic licks over these chords.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
Okay, so, and this is, you know, Joe is Italian, and that's the other theory I've got. You know, Italians, they cook beautiful meals, but they all have the same ingredients. It's like the pentatonic, which is the white wheat flour to bake, you know, whatever, pizzas, pastas, whatever, is one ingredient. Then there's the tomato sauce, and I mean, that's like kind of the major scale, you know?
Absolutely.
And this is all they put together, and then they throw in something, maybe the dishes or the
salt, the pepper.
The salt, pepper, and the stuff that is left over from yesterday.
Yes.
And this makes a beautiful meal, and this is how you can cook crazy stuff out of simple ingredients.
Absolutely.
So, and that's my discovery of what's going on in the Guitar Hero section. It is not that hard. They play the regular stuff, they just make it sound more expensive. And of course, they have got some technique to make it flashy. But the good news is it's not that hard.
It's doable. Everyone can do it.
Yeah. So what is your thing about modes? Do you have any special modes?
Special modes, I like Lydian a lot. Basically, I like harmonic minor. It's a little bit different flavor. But I think most guys, when learning notes, they're learning it not the correct way, I think. Because modes for me, it's just impression of a chord, like we had.
Yeah.
And over this chord, when you play the major scale, you have the Lydian sound because of the sharp 4 or sharp 11.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and this is the same with all the other modes. And if you know that, you know, like, if, for example, if you play D minor 7 and play the C major scale, you have a D Dorian sound.
Yeah, sure.
And that's all. And you just have to remember where the intervals are.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of intervals, just to see where the intervals are, and then I can decide what to play and what not.
See, for me, I understand that theory now as well, but I'm self-taught. When I was a teenager, I just knew the major scale, and I knew that I could move the notes, the bass notes around. And of course, by listening to the notes, I was listening to the intervals.
Yes.
Because that's the distance from like the root note in the bass to the top note in the melody, and that's the distance is the interval. And the interval defines the mode, but the good news is it's nothing you have to practice, it's something you have to hear.
Yes, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and it took me quite some years to hear it.
Absolutely.
But hearing is not as hard as practicing stuff that is, you know, like I'm Steve Vai trying to do something which is too complicated for the rest of the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think Joe Satriani is a good example.
He's a master of that.
By the way, do we have the picture of Joe Satriani? I met him.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and this is with Mike Keneally,
Very cool.
the guy who played in Zappa as well. And Joe is a super sweet guy. Is a super lovely person that has actually helped me because he tried out the Amp 1.
Nice.
And then the next thing I heard was some American dealers like Joe was in our store and he recommended that to buy this amplifier. So he was cool. Super nice. But the thing about what he has done is he put the molds into the rock music.
Absolutely, yes.
And he had
Made it popular.
Yeah, and he had Steve Vai as a student, and Kirk Hammett.
Kirk Hammett, and also Alex Skolnick. I don't know, some,
That's me. Okay.
Yeah. Alex Skolnick.
Yeah.
From Testament, some
Testament.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, of some high-profile players.
Yes.
But you know, I think he did a great starting point for that, you know, kind of thing. And of course, it was also created by Uli John Roth and Michael Schenker here in Germany, blah, 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 and more other guitar players. But I just took Satriani as the example.
Yes.
And then when we talk about other technique, it's like the legato thing, which is now Tom Quayle is the master.
Of legato.
But in these
But
days,
it's also a different style of legato playing, because I think Joe Satriani is more flowing over the beat, and
okay,
I think and Tom Quayle is very accurate, just playing 60 notes and triplets, and that's more. I think it's a little bit a different direction. It's legato, but it's a little bit a different approach, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any like legato thing that you would show people? Like, okay, this is
yes,
like
I can show some basic stuff he's doing. It's like. What Joe Satriani is always doing,
yeah,
so flowing a little bit around the beat, and it's not exactly if you have like. He's always like. He's a little bit more, how to say, a little bit more rubato when playing legato, I think.
Okay.
It's not 100% exactly.
Yeah, but
so it's different, and that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's alive. It's not too mechanical.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I kind of mimic the whole thing, not knowing what it is. Call it what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I move my hand while I do the stuff.
Yeah, just the scale up and down.
Yeah. So that's
it can work. Yes.
Yeah.
Tom Quayle is a little bit more organized, I think.
Yeah. And then his tones were also different in the very early days. You know, when in the 80s he had a trick. He used a compressor and an EQ in front of like a Marshall-esque amplifier to clean up the bass and reduce the dynamic in the playing. That's because then
it's easier to play, sure.
Legato is easier to play, and he has great sustain that way. So that's a thing. And then on like the first records, he used also chorus for that typical 80s tone. Yes. Yeah, it's not that hip anymore.
No, not anymore.
So this is like one of the recipes for him. Well, there's other. We had a conversation about heroes, and the list is
endless.
Endless. Actually, there are so many great players. But one guy that came up is Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yes.
So I remember when I heard my first Yngwie Malmsteen on what was this Rising Force album.
Oh yes, me too. That's the same album.
You are younger.
Yes.
So you didn't buy the album when it came out?
No, I can't. Because I was actually... When came it out? 84, 86, I think?
I don't remember.
I was 5 or 4.
Okay, this was before your time.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, it was like, I was already playing and it was like shocking. It was like, man, this guy is fast. And... Okay, you got the DOD overdrive, which makes more sense for that. But I use my sound here with. He had this. That kind of scale. And this is a scale that he uses a lot. I heard that before with Richie Blackmore.
Yeah, sure. Uli John Roth.
Ole
also
John Roth a lot,
did
yeah.
yes.
But more kind of half speed.
Yes, totally agree. Yes, it was when I first, I think I was about 14 or 15 when I first listened to, I think it was Black Star or maybe Far Beyond the Sun. Incredible. I was shocked actually that someone can play like this. And there was a time a little bit before YouTube, so nobody knows how to play it actually.
Yeah.
Right, you listen to it and you can't, how does he play it?
There was no explanation.
Yes, no explanation.
It was like, wow, this guy is magic.
Yes.
So how could we explain to people what he's doing? Maybe we have to explain the mode.
Yeah, sure. It's the harmonic minor mode. And actually, but before I show you the mode, maybe one more important thing is how he picks. And that's a little bit of a mystery, which actually is solved after cracking the code, if you know the...
That's a
yes.
beautiful YouTube channel
Awesome.
from an American guy.
Troy
that
Grady,
he puts a camera so you can actually slow down and see exactly when he does, or
Yes.
other players, Steve Morse and whatever, not he's analyzing, the string skipping up and down strokes,
Yes.
and getting, cracking the code,
Yeah,
cracking
yeah.
the patterns.
Yes, and what he's
So-
doing actually is, it's called downward pick slanting. And what he's doing, what that means is actually if you play a note, most guys play side by side. And you can check it. If you play an upstroke, you will come to the B string.
Yeah.
Which actually is a little bit tricky. So he slants the pick a little bit down, and now if you go up, you don't hit the B string.
Yeah.
And if you play like you play on one string, maybe you don't hit the other string. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And then you can do stuff like this. So when changing string, it's important that you have an even number of notes. Let's say we have 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now
Yeah.
the pick is up, and now you can go to the next pair of strings. If you don't do it this way, maybe I'll show you. Now you're struck, and
Yeah.
you hit the other string. It
And-
doesn't work.
Yeah, and you lose the rhythm
Yes,
too.
you lose the rhythm too,
Yeah.
and it's another feel. And one
Yeah.
other very important thing when listening to Yngwie is he's playing lots of times rubato, which means not exactly, a little bit like the Sedge vibe, like the Satriani is doing, and he's flowing, and he's doing it so good. It's you can't copy it really. It's hard.
Yeah.
Because most guys, like myself, when I try to meme Yngwie, it's played too straight. It needs
Yeah.
a little bit dirt. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I noticed when I record my albums or everything I've done, now I know the word. I play rubato. I was thinking I was playing shit.
It's called rubato.
Okay, let's call it rubato then,
Yes.
because it is like emotional. It's like you rush a bit,
Yes.
or you relax over the beat, and it's not like a machine that is kind of synchronized to the whole thing. And I think Eddie Van Halen does the same thing.
Absolutely.
Because
yes.
I heard in an interview somebody must ask him like, hey, Mr. Van Halen, did you know you played a novo mole, which means you played 9
Yes,
notes on
yes.
one stroke? And he said, I just play guitar.
yes. And I think it's because those guys didn't practice too much with the metronome.
Yeah,
Because the metronome it's good to practice with the metronome, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's too perfect. It sounds like a computer.
yeah.
And that's the thing, because if you listen to the old guys, Led Zeppelin, whatever,
They didn't have a metronome.
they didn't have a metronome,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but the music is moving.
Yeah.
So it's that feeling.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah, the same here. It's the old school organic way.
yes, yes.
I'm not saying that the other music is
No.
bad. No, it's the different music for different people. Probably not us. So don't get us wrong. But the thing is, I think it's good if you have a body rhythm that shows you where the beat is.
Yes, yes.
And then if you go a little bit out of time with your playing within the beat, it's all good.
Yes, yes, yes.
So there's
And
not.
it's even more about the rhythm than the note, actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
I found the same thing
Yeah.
too. And I sometimes make a joke about it. You can play anything
Yes.
if it's in the groove.
You can.
I can play total bullshit, and it sounds right when it's grooving. I mean,
yeah.
let's do something
Yeah.
like I can.
Yes, it's
So
working.
and I played tons of shitty wrong notes.
Actually, most guys would say, "Hey, what's that chromatic run you're doing there?"
Yeah, yes, I call this bullshit minor.
Bullshit minus.
You know, I was actually checking this out at a NAMM show,
Ah, okay.
and I had people listening to me because if you play something that makes total sense, like phrases that make ba-ba-doo-ba-boo-doo, you know, stuff like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, and then you play outside, and of course you can move standard pattern like major triads, yeah,
Something
and
like
move
this.
this around the neck, but you can also play total bullshit.
Yes, yes, yes.
And when it's in the groove, nobody notices, and the people go, "Wow, this man is wild," and he knows what he's doing, but we don't know what he's doing. And my answer is, I don't know either what I'm doing. It's just in the groove.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if the note you're landing on is perfect or good.
It's all good.
Yes.
You know what was the Steve Lukather? What ends good is good, or something happy. He had a CD like that.
Damn.
Whatever.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Ends good is
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So about Yngwie, back to the scale.
Yes.
I learned that scale, like, okay, that's a harmonic minor, A minor, with the E in the bass. Or how would you describe it?
Yes. Basically, it's just if you start from E, this would be E harmonic minor. That's a specific sound.
Yeah.
So this is basically the scale he's playing, and basically he's playing a lot of shapes. I think.
Yeah.
He's playing some typical stuff. Let's say with E. Now this is E Phrygian dominant.
Okay.
It's over E.
Okay. So let's
Basically A harmonic minor.
yeah. A. So you play an E chord,
Yes.
and this is what we have in the bass. So and now you play A.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the scale.
That's scale.
And I heard that scale from Ole John Roth also.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, it's there is this. I think the song is called Caravan.
Yes.
So yeah, and I think this is a very old gypsy
Yes,
standard.
it's very yeah.
And I guess that those guys they got inspired or stole it from
Absolutely,
there.
sure. It's all about inspiring and
Yeah.
stealing licks and concepts and whatever.
Okay, I think we have a little go on this scale over
Yes.
a backing track here. Do we find the backing track? Starten. We go for.
Loud and fast.
Okay, yeah, the song is called More is More because Yngwie is about more.
He's always about more.
The good thing is like, how can less be more? Well,
Yeah.
more is more. Okay, here we go. More is more. Take it away, man. Okay, yeah.
More is more, definitely.
Yeah. So how many more notes can we play? Well,
I
not
don't
that
know.
many.
Not that many, yes.
So that's the Yngwie, and you are using the DOD.
Yes, I'm doing the DOD overdrive. It's basically the standard overdrive he's using. He started with an DOD 250, which is basically pretty much the same, but I think this is the DOD 3008, is a little bit more, less bass and a little bit more compression, I think. And now he's using the Fender ones. But all of them are out of stock now. So I was watching at eBay, and the red thing from Fender actually costs about 50 euros before, and now they are offering it for 300 maybe. But basically...
But they're all the same.
They're all the same.
They're
pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I built one myself and compared it, and they're pretty much the same.
It's one op amp and a
Yes.
free diet, something.
I think a 4711, something like
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I had a look
Yeah.
at the schematic. But it's a good sounding
It's a good
pedal.
sound, yes,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong about
Yes.
it. I mean, simple stuff can be great.
Yes.
So let me check something new here, which is this one, this gentleman. Okay, I need. After all this more is more, I would like to go for less is more.
Yes.
Which is one of the other sides, you know, the gentleman who did this kind of thing.
Yes.
So, and he's also guitar hero.
Absolutely.
And you can ask anybody that plays the guitar, and everybody is touched.
Yeah.
And he is less is more. And you know, the funny thing is both guys play Fender Strats, and
That sound totally different.
totally different, you know?
And one thing I really love about David Gilmour, he's one of the guys, there isn't any fast lick he's playing. He never plays a fast lick.
Well, he knows how to avoid that.
Yes, yes, totally.
And that's
Totally.
yeah, and I think so too. And you know, now coming from Yngwie, you have to slow down
Oh, yes.
and get in a total different vibe, because yeah, I mean, Yngwie drives Ferrari, he plays
Yes.
Ferrari.
He's like he's playing.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, I think. It's
Yeah.
very funny too.
Yeah, and I had a big pleasure to meet David Gilmour. I think this was 2004 with the Fender Awards, when I
Nice.
was the Fender
Yeah.
awarded Strat King. And the nice thing was he showed me all his rig at the rehearsal. Such a nice guy. He knew everything. I told him that I watched a Pink Floyd show in Hockenheim near Mannheim here in Germany. And he could remember the date,
Really?
the weather, everything.
Jesus.
So, you know, and such a sweet guy, super relaxed. And one thing which really was killing me was when there was this rehearsal for this Wembley Arena concert with Gary Moore, and there was Brian May, and basically them all. And everybody was kind of a bit excited and like moving.
imagine, yes.
Yeah, everybody's like, the door opened, David Gilmour came in, and everything was slowed down. It's like, now we are at church. Just a guy with his suit, the way he moves is like warm, relaxed. He is totally the way he plays.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And so I was, just by his personality, I was so deeply impressed. It's like, not, you know, I can be excited and I can, you know, move with the hands like Italian and go a little hectic and wild.
Yeah.
No, this guy is never hectic. He would never play a fast lick, you know? He's just
He
relaxed.
doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Everything sounds perfect.
And he's so tasty,
Yeah.
you know? Here's one thing you should know about Gilmour's tone. He uses compressors. Compressor is his, I would say, game. And you can, when you listen to his tones, he has so many different tones. There's, you know, super clean tones. There's like
High watt, I think. High
yeah,
watt
he has high watts. His stage rig is high watt. Is like a wet dry wet system with stereo. He has his own pedal board just for the post effects, and 4x12s for the effects. and some old WEM cabinets and the high wood for the dry signal. I've been on stage. I heard it. I know
Stone, yes.
this. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, and well, one of his tricks is that he uses a lot of compression. So he has all this sustain, but he is not in need of saturation.
Yes.
So he can reduce gain and still have a lot of compression. So this is something that I've done here with my clean channel. If we look on my pedal board, I'm using the clean channel, and on the clean channel I have a little boost, and I use the yellow comp, which is my compressor, now on almost full, or let's put it on full. So
Where do you put the level from the volume?
8.
Ah, okay, that's good.
I have some other programs here, and this is just clean then, because 8 can be a nice clean sound if I don't have any other pedals in front. But on this preset number 6, I have all these pedals in front,
Nice.
and so I can, wait a minute, let me show here. Get rid of this. We are. So this is a boring clean tone, but the compressor. Yeah, and that's the clean channel that now gives the saturation. But since the sound is so smoothened before it's getting overdriven, it's not so aggressive. So put a little echo here.
Yeah,
Sustain forever, you know. I play too fast.
Calm down.
Yeah. So
Ah, that's awesome. That's the sound.
yeah. My small stone phaser, I love it every time I switch it
Yes,
on.
I have the same, but the small one, the newer one, but it sounds also very nice.
Yeah. I just
love
love
this
that
pedal,
thing.
yes.
Me too. Yeah. Okay, anyway. I have a little backing.
Sure.
Let's go for it and see what we do out of this. What is F sharp minor?
Okay.
So we don't have the copy conflict. In the last episode, we were too close to the originals, they took away our. Yeah.
Nice. It was fun.
Okay. See, so we can be guitar hero even without playing many notes.
Yes.
That's the good news about guitar.
I find it more relaxing when playing slow and think about what to play. And listen to your head, because when you play fast, for me there is beginning and there's an end.
Yeah.
But when playing slow, there is somewhat storytelling, I think.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we played all this, that interval.
And that's
the six, you know, not a minor six. It's a, what is it called? A standard six?
Major six.
Major six.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's a Dorian mode, actually.
Yeah, that's the Dorian mode. You guys, the Dorian mode is. There's a lot of Dorian mode players. Santana is a Dorian. Peter Green is a Dorian mode player. Rory Gallagher was a Dorian mode player. So for me, the old school guys, I have a theory. They played pentatonic, which is
adding some color notes.
And then they added the X note, which is. And this is all it takes.
Yeah.
And David Gilmour put that note so beautiful in place that
especially with that one tune, we don't want to name it.
yeah. But it's a very shiny diamond.
Yes.
Which is totally crazy.
Not Rihanna.
Yeah. So you know, that's the beauty of another way of understanding modes is. You can just have this one note as the special ingredients. And
you don't have to learn too many stuff new. Because you know actually your pentatonic, you just have to add the sixth.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. And you can become rich with this. You know, Santana, you know, Peter
more
Green.
rich than with other stuff.
Yeah. So less notes is more money.
Yes. And more girls maybe.
Yeah, ask them. They should know. Okay, I need my concept here because we have so many different players here. By the way, if you do have any questions about the guys that we mentioned, we will have a Q&A about all of them. We are here. Here is a guy. What's next? Maybe Eric Johnson.
Oh yes.
So, who is familiar with Eric Johnson? I am. You are. Maybe not everybody. I know Eric Johnson came along in the 90s.
Yeah.
For me, but he existed before that.
Yes, he played a lot of session, a lot of records actually.
Yeah.
Sideman.
And he's from Texas, but the thing is, he's not that kind of ZZ Top Texas guy.
No, not. But you hear the roots a little bit, I think.
Yeah, but he's more this kind of. My family reads books. Plays the piano.
Totally, yes.
Yeah, and he's such a,
But again, the same. I think he sounds like he is in person. Absolutely. He's very, very nice and relaxed guy.
Yeah, super smooth guy. I met him at the NAMM show. I was watching his performance, and I didn't have that much time with him, but the way we just exchanged a few words told me the same story. And he has this kind of soft voice, and it's a kind of here and a nice authentic guy doing his thing.
Oh, absolutely. And he's a totally killer player.
Yeah. So what are the magic ingredients in Eric Johnson's?
I think at first it's important he has two different, or maybe three different sounds, I think. He has one which is a little bit clean, some chorus and delay. That's a very nice one. Then the other one with the typical real tube drive. I think it's the Chandler overdrive. I don't know. Yes.
I got it here.
Yes, you got it here.
I got the small version on the board and the big version in the shelf.
And one also very important thing is that how he switches his pickups. It's also very important because when he's playing, the real tube drive, he's always at the bridge pickup and he's rolling the tone off a little bit to get that smoothness. This violin kind of sound, which everyone wants to.
I show you one thing. I'm using the exactly same sound that I was using for Gilmour. The only thing I do, I reduce the clean volume. I got this button here.
Yes.
And now I have a beautiful
Yeah.
clean tone.
Totally. Yes.
So this could be a clean tone.
Yeah.
He prefers the 50, whatever, 6 maple strats, whatever.
Yeah. Like I have not the same. I wish I could have this, but he's always using some like harmonics.
Harp harmonics.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what
Beautiful.
he's doing a lot. Yeah.
Here's a little story about my guitar and Eric Johnson.
Ah, okay.
This is super special. Okay, I'm from Saarbrücken, Saarland, Germany. Okay, it's some little town on the edge of Germany next to the French border. And when I was a teenager, 16 years old, I had a Japan vintage copy of a Strat.
Okay.
So, and then there was a guitar luthier, Michael Frank Braun,
Okay.
who is from this city. He moved to Hamburg, North Germany, 700 kilometers, very long drive. And he was working there, repairing guitars and building guitars. So one day I was at the point that I just saw Gary Moore with his red Strat on the television, and it sounded so good. And I had only the GV series. And I asked Michael, I want a guitar that is better than mine. What do I need to do? And he said to me, well, then you have to buy an old one. So half a year later, he called me up from Hamburg to Saarbrücken and said, I got some old guitars for you. I actually got 2. If you want to buy a guitar, now is the time. I was not having a driver's license. I was 17. I took the train and I bought the overnight ticket because it was cheaper.
Okay.
I arrived in the early morning in Hamburg. I saw this guitar and a 64. And this guitar was actually cheaper.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
61, because the guy needed the money. He wanted
okay.
3,200, and I thought I'm a businessman. I make 2,300.
Really?
Last offer,
amazing.
and the guy needed the money. The deal was done. So, and the other 64 belonged to a famous guitar player of Udo Lindenberg,
okay.
Thomas Kretschmer. Anyway, and this was a killer 64 Strat, but I couldn't afford it. So, years later, Michael, the guy that called me, was hired to Fender Custom Shop. So he moved to the US, to California to work at Fender, being at Fender Custom Shop for many years, decades. And he is the guy that made the Eric Johnson signature model.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So there's the connection from here to Eric Johnson over, Hamburg, Alle. So, and this is the lesson. We are all connected.
Nice,
So
yes.
never leave a bad impression, because it will come back.
Absolutely.
It's yeah. So anyway, and the other thing I think we both know is the interval playing that he.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Yeah, this is his kind of thing. Okay, and I call that the Eric Johnson memorial tone on my pedal board, which is on this. Okay, it's a bit noisy. Which is my vintage channel, kind of cranked. It's not as sweet as Eric's sound, because I usually have a bit more bite in the sound.
Okay.
But if
He
I
goes
would,
in complete off, I think. On his
yeah.
hands.
He's into that kind of territory. So I could reduce the treble here to get closer to. And this is now using the real tube drive, which makes it sound a bit like a fuzz.
But not kind of the same, right?
No, this is a tube drive pedal, but so this is without the real tube. So, and now I bring this in.
Yeah. Right?
And of course, tons more sustain.
Yeah, sure. Yes, totally different world.
Okay. Maybe it's a bit too much. Let's reduce the drive here. Yes. But the way it blooms and it screams in a nice way. So I can afford to have a little bit less treble here. This kind of what is called pinch harmonics or whatever that really jumps out.
I think he's also playing very soft when playing. Actually, I think most times. Soft touch.
I can't do that.
Me neither. I try, but it's hard.
Yes, I'm the hard picker.
Me too.
But, and then there is the thing about his 5 series.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3.
By the way, he's also using this downward pick slanting, like Yngwie, basically the same picking technique.
So it's like the pick is not parallel to the string, it's like that way.
That's right.
And this is, I do something in between. I have a little bit downward.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because that's your sound.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I mean, when you get older, you learn that what makes you different is actually your benefit.
Yes, absolutely.
When you're younger, you think everything that you are different is shit because you're not exactly like Yngwie. And you're not.
You don't want to be the Elvis Presley impression, right? You want to be your own Elvis.
Yeah. Talking about Elvis Presley, I met Yngwie Malmsteen backstage at a Fender booth, and he was doing his show, and I had whatever, it was a trade show, and this was the day when he was a big boy. He came in the door and I thought it was Elvis Presley.
Yes, because with this,
with this way. Now he's totally, slim, skinny, in good shape. We all go through phases, but this was his Elvis Presley shape, face, which was cool. Okay, back to Eric Johnson. So. And this is based on my vintage channel, which is like a plexi, this thing. You know what? We got a backing here. Let's try and see if we get some Eric Johnson tones out of our setup here. Dateien. Where is Eric? Okay, I think there is no intro. This simply starts. Sorry. Something like that.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Let's explain that.
Yeah.
Where's my overdrive here?
Yes. Actually doing hybrid picking there,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
So it's like the E string is always with
Yeah.
whatever finger.
With the middle finger, yes. I guess, or the third finger.
The third finger.
You're using the third?
I use this finger, the ring finger.
The ring finger, yes. I'm using the second finger, but
Okay, nice.
I don't know what he's using. I think. But actually, the third one is good.
Yeah. So the good news about this hybrid picking technique is you don't have to do the string skipping.
But this would be difficult as hell.
Nobody could play that
No.
fast, you know. So learn, guys. It's always simpler than you think.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't stop before you find the method that explains how it works, because otherwise you practice some stuff that you don't have a chance to get there anyhow.
Yeah.
You know. So this is like. And then he throws in some.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right, yes.
So that's a nice
And
one.
I think he found it by accident, actually. He was trying some stuff out, and maybe and that's a human way.
Yeah.
I think it's important to, and that's what we talked about creating your own technique. It's
Yeah.
important just to try things out. And everyone is different. I mean, there are so many players which hold the pick different, which use other styles and techniques, so don't be afraid to try something new.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, Keith Richards, you know, even.
That's the sound. He's doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it all shines through your playing.
Yes.
And whatever it is.
And if you would play this in a different way, like it doesn't sound
it's
right.
boring.
Yeah,
it's boring.
Yes.
Yeah. So, there's a beauty in everything. You just have to make it perfect.
Yes. Not one is difficult than the other. It's just different.
Exactly. People always go, this is better, or this is the
This
best.
is faster. It must be more difficult.
Yeah. Or who's the best guitar player?
Oh,
Bullshit.
I hate this.
I hate it too. There is no best guitar player. Every person is different, and it depends on what is the criteria. You know, some people like more the interval stuff. Other people like more the fast stuff. Other people like more, and that's a personal decision which one you like
and I
better.
think we go all in phases. Like one you like, you are in the Yngwie Malmsteen phase, and the next time you are in the David Gilmour phase.
Yeah.
So
Okay, going in phases, in phase, out of phase.
yes.
We have a few more. We have actually two more, but I think we should take care of some questions before it's too late. Okay, Kevin J. There's a question that comes from last episode. Did make the power amp boost the low end at lower volumes? Did make the power amp boost the low end at lower? Did you make the power amp boost at lower end, at low end, at lower
I think
volume?
I understand what he means.
Okay, please explain. I don't get it.
The power amp boost might be this one, right?
Yeah.
So, let me read this again.
Wait. Is
okay,
the power
this one.
amp boosted at
low volume. Low volume.
and?
Maybe he means the master of this, if it's very quiet and this up. I don't know.
At the low frequencies? Well, is the power amp boosted at low volume at the low frequencies? No. We don't have a like on a hi-fi thing. There's a what's it called? There was in the old days they had hi-fi systems. What's it called? Loudness switch. Okay, no, we don't have a loudness switch. What we have is simply increasing volume on the amps, and we have a natural bass. The low frequency comes from the amp and the cabinet, or the cabinet simulation. We are actually both using the blue box here on the same favorite cabinet. Okay, anyway. Regarding the tube amp feel of amp 1, I asked because X Effects also models all the things, but when running into a neutral power amp Palmer, it doesn't have the oomph. Okay. let's put it that way. The amp 1 does have some rich tone even at lowest volume. There is not a problem. I can prove that by simply deducting the master volume. And now I bring it up on the blue box. So now the level is the same. But you can see I'm here at...
It's nothing basically.
Yeah,
2. Yes.
yeah, not even 1.5. So this is, that's the sound. So now I switch to middle position lower and it's not that different. No. And we had the oomph even at the low volume. And now I make it even more extreme. I switch to super low. This is where I can hear that the power amp is getting into the extra zagging saturation zone, which
5, 6.
Yeah,
right?
And that's my stage volume.
Yeah.
But to be honest, this is like the perfect spot. And now I do the total opposite, dial down, switch up the sensitivity. Hey, I mean, it's 2%.
Yeah.
So I know why people ask this.
If you do a blind test, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, people ask this because some other amps, they sound very hard and cold at low master volumes. But the amp 1 is full and rich even at bedroom volumes.
And you can even do the power soak stuff if you like.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I do have all these options, but the question to be answered is, we actually don't need that. You know, it's possible, but we don't need it because it's a healthy, rich tone as it is. Okay, next question. Ronnie Barbaroska. Barboska. Wow. Okay, which playback did we use? Actually, that's a playback out of this. Julian, can you give me this? Yeah, both. So back in the days, last century or maybe this century, I was writing for a German magazine called Guitar, and this is the play along. And I made a series how to play in the style of David Gilmour, in the style of Mark Knopfler, in the style of Rory Gallagher, Nirvana, Slash, AC/DC, Van Halen, blah, 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 them all. We did 5 DVDs. So if you are lucky...
Nice with the magazine.
Yeah,
that's cool.
There's some transcription. If you are lucky, you find those cheap somewhere on eBay. And the backing is from this book. It's on the DVD. You can download it onto your hard drive and play that. So it's from the Guitar, which is the number 4, number 4. Nummer 4. Okay, you got it? So this is where this comes from. Next question, Roberto Donoso. Hey, today I have difficulties to read those last names. Anyway, it's good. Donoso Büchner. Okay, Büchner is very German. Donoso is sounds good. It sounds like local slang here.
Yes.
You know, I'm do, yo. Okay, this is Saarland. This is this area. Okay, hey Fabian, this is a question for you. Could you talk about your guitar pickup strings specials?
Yeah, sure, I do. So the guitar is basically, this is an original Fender USA neck. I have like for 20 years maybe, was from a standard US Stratocaster. And the body is basically from a guitar builder in, I think it's in Serbia, Bosnia, I think, which is a little bit aged, as you see. And the pickups are Klopman pickups, for me the best pickups on the world. They deliver the perfect tone for me. This is the ST67. This is the, I think the same, just the middle one. And this is the ST62, which is a little bit more oomphed.
67 goes
yeah.
back to my signature. I said 2.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, it's funny. We kind of connected through
yeah,
pickups without knowing.
yes, totally. And the rest is basically something special. If the people will not hate me if I say this guitar is cryo-tuned, but it sounds good and feels great. And yeah, the setup is something special. It's an ABM tremolo. It's also
this is a German guy
Very
from
good.
Berlin.
And actually you can do still in tune.
Yeah.
So it takes some time,
Yeah.
but I love to set it up because I'm using it all the time.
The ABM tremolo comes in 2 versions. There's a brass version and a steel version. Which
This
one are you using?
Steel.
You have the steel
I
one.
like steel.
Yeah, because the steel has more definition and oh, the magic hand is coming. Okay, let me do it here. Okay, good. This is a custom shop or what is it?
No, it's not a custom shop.
It is a fake one.
It's actually a fake custom, except for the neck. I have it like I was 17, so a few years actually.
Yeah.
And it feels so natural for me because I played it so long, often refret it a lot of times, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if a guitar feels and sounds the way you like it.
I will change the body though, because I don't like the color and I don't want to show you the backside because it looks very not good.
But maybe then it sounds not good anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, keep the body before you sell it.
Yeah, that's totally true.
Because I learned something. It took me 10 years to find the right body for my it's downstairs.
Okay.
For my other 60s neck, I have an original Fender 60 neck.
Okay.
And I had original Fender body, but it didn't match.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I was swapping bodies, another body, and it took me like 10 years.
I did that so many times.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And if you have a combination that sounds good,
better leave it. Yes.
Yeah, leave it.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
Yeah, you're totally right.
I mean, we all do sometimes modifications, which is great, but don't do something that you can't go back to.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, same with cryo tuning. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
It can fit, but it also can.
You have to know what you're doing.
Absolutely. And for the strings, the last thing, the strings I'm using Elixir strings 13 to 46. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just using a 9 to 46, like you, I guess.
Yeah.
I like Elixir because the other ones are down after 2 days playing.
That is because you play more than I do.
Maybe, I don't know.
I play the, what is it, Ernie balls.
They are good.
Yeah, their sound is good, but the thing is, Elixir, they last forever.
Yeah, forever.
I don't like the feel that much, but if you like the feel, you're happy because you can, they are so more consistent.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
But one thing I found out, maybe I'm a little bit strange, but I think the intonation is better on the original strings, on like Ernie Ball or the Dario.
Really?
Yeah, I have the feeling when I'm playing. Sometimes it gets me and I put the Dario or Ernie Ball on and I feel the intonation is a little bit better, but maybe just a cycle thing.
Yeah, we have many
cycles. Like which batteries in the pedal and stuff.
Absolutely. Cool. I have a next question here. Stefan Mandl. Thomas, people always ask about how the Amp 1 compares to other amps. All great, but how about the other way around? Is there a sound that is specific to the Amp 1 that other amps have problems to copy? Yes, and this it also depends on which amps you compare it to. I mean, if I compare some of my sounds versus some other brands, they don't even get there because they have a different character. On the other hand, if I have a certain character in a similar ballpark and I would make this my reference tone, I have to dial in the other amp and see how close I get. And actually, with some amps, it's not possible. The reason for it is not that this is a better amp or the other one is a better amp. It is each amp has a slightly different character because of the voicing.
Yeah.
And I always do it to prove that the Amp 1, which is just a tiny little box that nobody believes is a real amp, is at the same level as the real deal amps. And for me, it's not even the question if it's just like a tube amp, it's more like a boutique tube amp. So I see too many amps that are not voiced the way I like them. If I would play other boutique amp styles, I would play Bogners, I would play Friedmans, I would play my vintage Marshalls, which are not so versatile. I love them for their tone, but I mean, if I would be gigging without
It's horrible.
this,
Yes.
I would have a maybe my Triumph, because that's my boutique tube amp that I
You have to carry a lot.
yeah, and this is, I'm like into the next generation where I think I want the same tone, I want that same quality, but no weight.
Yes.
And this is here, and I don't miss anything. But it's a nice hint. We could do it the other way around, and and do, I'm better than you are. Well,
Yeah, just
to me, all good. I think some of the sounds, they have a very specific character. For instance, for me, the vintage channel in certain settings is magic to me.
absolutely. I love this channel. This is the
You
one
too?
Yes, I'm mostly playing with the vintage or the clean, boosted all way up.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I switch to the classic, and one day I think that's the sound. That's always different.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the classic is a little more stable, less dynamic.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like sometimes you feel that the dynamic of the vintage is the magic, and sometimes you love the more stable foundation of the classic.
Yes.
And this is why I have all these different channels, because there's a beauty in each of these channels.
Absolutely.
Why?
So versatile. So if you
Yeah.
use a remote one and another MIDI switcher, you are actually
And
in heaven.
for me, is it better? Well, it's a personal taste thing, and what works better. I use different channels in different situations with different bands, and that's it. Okay, Hollywood actress. How would you describe the M1 used with headphones for nighttime? It's a M1, I guess, yeah. Used with headphones for nighttime quiet practice, or does it need to be used with a laptop or eyes to get a more natural? Let's put it that way. You have a speaker simulation built in, you have a record out. Of course, it is very direct, because there's not much air in between the headphones and your ears.
Yeah.
Use some reverb and use headphones that are not too bright, or dial in some tones, and then it's good. I'm not saying it's the best sound.
Guitar with headphones is
It's always
it's a
tough.
challenge, yes.
It's a challenge. There's some products on the market that have beautiful room simulations.
okay.
That helps.
Sure.
I think I had heard something from Boss, which was
Vasa, I think.
yeah,
Headphones,
and
something
then
like
and then they had a like 3D thing, and you can walk around, and it's like a virtual reality. That's not this quality, but you can use a headphone on this. Try different headphones, and I have a headphone that sounds pretty good, just like it is. Plug it in, use some reverb, and I think I don't need anything more. That's my answer. Okay, Lawrence Young. Hi Thomas, great idea with Academy of Tone. Would it be possible to schedule one using a remote one and looper kit? Well, here it is. There's my remote one, and here is my looper kit. The quick version is the magic. See, when I put my phone this way, I switch here, and the amp is switching, the boost is switching, the channels are switching, and at the same, maybe you can listen to the relays.
Yeah.
There is like a PCB, like a little extra thing inside with relays, and it's true bypass, which brings in and out these pedals. So I have always a very clean thing.
But just before the amp.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This is the way I use it. It's just you could also use it in the effects loop, but I'm super simple. I have just one delay in the loop, and all the other noisy stuff is before the amp. And then the looper kit simply gets it out of the signal path. So I have a super pure, clean, pristine signal. And that's it. See, now I switch from here. This is like, there's no delay because the effects loop is switched off. And this is with the... Anyway, I probably do a full episode on the remote one, but this was the quick version. Okay, Rui Yamakawa sounds Japanese to me. Hi Thomas, is the M1 effect send return buffered or passive? Well, of course it's buffered. It is kind of low impedance, so you can have any pedal delay, and it has a minus 10 plus 4 dB switch, which is actually needed for the delays that we both have.
Okay, it's important.
In a standard effect loop, these delays don't work.
Okay.
They cannot handle...
so they distort it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They go...
No, that doesn't sound nice.
And I love these DD2 and DD3s, the early ones, so much that I actually put in that function on the M1 for myself. So enjoy. Okay. Yeah, the return of the effects loop is actually tube buffered because the nanotube is the next thing after the return. So you can mistreat the tube by boosting the level, but I always say there is a certain limit. A tube does a beautiful thing, but when it's too much for a tube, it goes...
Okay, we don't want to hear that.
The tube doesn't want to do that. Too fluffy. So be careful in the range of boosting inside the effects loop, but it's tube boosted. Okay, next question. Paul Rose. Hi, Paul. Paul is the wah-wah pedal. What is the wah-wah? My wah-wah pedal is a... Okay, Paul Rose. Nice to have you in the chat. By the way, if you are on Facebook, Paul Rose also does live streams, I think every Sunday. Check him out. He's a killer player. We know each other, and we did one episode at the beginning, at the very beginning of the Academy when the whole thing just started. We have to do a follow-up one day in person. So now talking about the wah. This wah is a Czech, I think, product from a company called George Dennis, GD. And it is optical controlled, which means there's no pot which would make scratches. And it has a true bypass with a relay. So, because I have no feet here, I switch it on here with my finger.
Oh, nice.
And what I like about this wah is it is softer.
It's not the volume increasing like the other ones.
Yeah, and and the curve is not too. I mean, the typical crybaby is.
Sure.
It's great. I mean, if you play, all this funky
but
stuff.
This volume, so much volume.
Yeah.
Right.
And this thing, he had. The guy who designed it, George Burgestein, he also was at this place. Friend, he had also a bass wah, and I got this wah, and I said, you know what? I use that for my guitar. So this is like the second version of a bass wah.
Oh, okay.
So there was a guitar wah, which I found okay, and then there was a bass wah, and then he saw me using that, and I talked to him, blah blah blah, and this became this wah-wah which I use now. And I'm not sure if they're still in business or what's with them. I haven't seen them, but it's nice. Here. And the other thing what I like about this wah is I play 3-piece a lot, and then when I put it in, there is still some bass left, like. it's a nice one. Okay, one more question. Hollywood actress. By the way, love the live streams and I watched many of them, okay? However, have you ever used the Amp1 with a multi-effects pedal? Yes, sure. We have done a few in the 4-cable method. I consider this to be a multi-effects pedal. There used to be like quadra verbs and all these other multi-effects just in the effects return or in the effects loop. But this works beautifully. This is
I once tried a Helix with it and it works really good.
So,
but I prefer the analog stuff.
Yeah, and you have to know how to dial in stuff.
Sure. And you don't have to get lost.
Yeah.
That's a problem oftentimes.
Yeah. Okay. Here's my...
The list goes on.
The list goes on. Everybody knows every guitar player has another big hero, and his name is Jeff Beck. So I had a big pleasure to meet him in Bonn when he was playing Germany. Opening act was Joe Bonamassa, and the thing about Jeff Beck is he is the hero of the heroes.
Yes. Yes.
And the reason for that is not because he's the fastest player, not because he has the craziest chords. No. He's just himself.
Yeah. And his touch is so, you hear it and
it's
it's
unique.
Yeah, it's unique.
And the guy has reinvented the kind of what a guitar player can do on the guitar every decade. In the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, and today even,
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable expressive. So we all know Jeff Beck now as the guy with the Stratocaster.
But he actually started with the Les Paul.
He started with Les Paul, yeah. And he played in the Yardbirds. If you go back and imagine that Jimmy Page was playing the bass in the Yardbirds, and then, what a waste. And then,
but they were all session guys for that time.
They could do it, and they were. The good thing about these people back then, they were so easy. There were all these media stories about them fighting. It was total bullshit. Here the Rolling Stones just released a record with Jimmy Page because they're in the same studio, and Led Zeppelin left and Jimmy just moved over to the Stones session and played some guitar on that. And all the Beatles Stones thing is total bullshit because there's so many great pictures out now where you can see Keith Richards talking to Paul McCartney and
they were connected.
That's super. This is like one little class from the UK, like a school kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think they were also supportive in a way. Of course, there was like a little bit of who is having the biggest hit single kind of thing.
Sure.
But it had, it was so good. And Jeff Beck was in the middle. He was asked to be the guitar player, I think, in the Rolling Stones, in Pink Floyd. Everybody asked.
He played with Rod Stewart a lot also.
Yeah. You know that Rod Stewart was the first singer in the Jeff Beck group.
Oh, really? Ah,
Jeff Beck made him famous.
Jesus, I didn't know that.
So,
Okay. Nice.
So in the first Jeff Beck group, there was a singer called Rod Stewart, and he was kind of a shy guy hiding behind the guitar sticks and then singing with a beautiful voice.
Yeah, sure.
And then, then he got more confident, and then in the end he had his solo career, and unbelievable. So, this is also interesting to go back in history and see what was there. And
the great thing about him is I think he's just using his fingers.
And
the way he's using it very
close to
the bridge, and he's using the whammy bar, and that's a significant sound. Right?
It's like when he can...
Yeah, that's the sound. Yes, and harmonics he's always using.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's the stuff he is known for his late phase.
Yes.
And when he was in the 70s, he was still playing a pick.
Ah, really?
Yeah. I mean, how can you play?
You
You can hear that, you know.
Yeah.
And if in the Les Paul days, you can see him with a pick.
Oh, okay.
And the funny thing is, when I saw Jeff Beck, he gave away picks, but he didn't play them.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's that's a good
cool,
one.
yes.
I love it. You know, somewhere I have a Jeff Beck pick from Jeff Beck. Anyway, we have a little backing here, which goes back into the 70s. And in the 70s, he kind of brought some instrumental music to the scene. You know, before that, we have seen the band, the blues rock and the rock kind of thing. And then there was some funk elements. And he kind of made some records that were kind of really jazz, rock, combining jazz mentality with rock elements. And in a certain period, he played with Jan Hammer.
Oh, yes.
And Jan Hammer is the guy who is famous for his soloing on his Moog synthesizers and stuff. And coming from the Mahavishnu orchestra in English. And Mahavishnu again is legendary. You know, Billy Cobham on drums, and then unbelievable band. You know, John McLaughlin on guitar, and he was a fast pick player.
Very fast. yes.
Okay, so going back to that period, we have a little 70s style. Let's. Yeah, okay, I mean, if you want, you play the modern Jeff Beck, I play the old Jeff, or whatever.
I like the modern one.
We see what we can do. Where is, let's try this.
Break.
One,
Goes to B. Back to A.
this was
It's gone. The Yngwie came back.
Yngwie was always
Yeah,
back.
it was always.
So, okay, this is terrific. Okay, we played not authentic. We have to
No,
admit,
no.
but we had fun.
Yes, we had fun.
Yeah. And then, if you're not familiar with Beck, just listen to
Yeah,
Where Were You, you know, and then you know what time it is.
And one thing, just listen to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's so
Oh yeah, unbelievable.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He makes big melodies.
Yeah.
And he knows how to make those shine. If you watched him play live, he is on stage and he's into it, and he puts his full personality of how many years he's got, 70 maybe or 69 or whatever. He's young forever, but he puts all his personality behind the strings, and you can hear that.
Yes.
And I played with Jennifer Batten, who played a lot with him. She told me he is not into musicology or theory. He doesn't know anything. He just hears.
Jesus, okay.
It's scary.
Yeah,
and
scary.
some of his compositions, like
Yeah.
if you analyze this in harmonies, like, oh, that's deep shit.
Yeah,
But
it's advanced
actually,
stuff. Yeah.
the way he simply hears it. So that's the more scary thing about
That's
Jeff
very
Beck.
scary, actually.
A real artist with his own technique in his own world. Wow, I'm one of his biggest
Yes,
fans.
Jesus, yes.
Okay, and then we have another hero which is huge and
Very famous.
and very
actually.
yeah.
Yes.
in
I think
Ga-
it made the guitar popular back in these days.
Yeah.
again, because the guitar was a little bit going down because of the grunge scene.
yeah.
I think to that time, and then
We're
Slash
talk-
came.
Slash. We're talking about Slash. So
I
I think
think we need a
Les Paul.
Yes.
You grabbed the Les
I
Paul.
grabbed the Les Paul. Just
You grabbed the Les Paul. You know what?
mute this.
I grab. I grab. I have a good idea. We can put the Strats away.
Who needs strats?
Yeah, who needs Strats anyway? I have a great idea. I play my Junior.
Oh, that's a nice one too.
Yeah, it's a 56. Are you?
Tune.
Okay, let's see if I'm in tune.
Oh,
no.
yes.
Okay, this is
Oh, the same here.
okay. So now the next half an hour we are tuning guitars. Oh my God. Who played on that guitar? Keith Richard?
Special tuning. Oh,
Yeah.
and the typical G string problem.
Yeah, Les Pauls and G's.
Yes, don't like G strings. All right, this will work, I think.
Okay, let me. I got another gold top downstairs, but I'm too lazy. And what's the thing about Slash? He plays Marshalls and Les Paul because it's a classic combination. And the other thing, does he have covers on his? I think.
No, he has the zebra
Yeah.
version of it, basically, and that's his famous set he's always playing, and where you can recognize Slash.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
Okay, let's pretend we are Slashy.
Yes.
We are missing the heads.
Yes.
Well,
And
you
we
have
don't
one-
play. No, don't we play it. We
Okay.
have our own version there.
Yeah, let me check the backing. Oh, Face Idea. Okay, you still recognize me? Thank you. And that's another backing that I've done many years ago for this tutorial DVDs. Okay, let's have fun.
Yes. I'm gonna start with the mine stuff.
which
But
is
not the same.
It's in minor instead of major. Okay, let's have fun. Here we go.
Oh, it's humming.
Okay, so no real ending.
Yes.
Okay, what are the things about Slash? I mean, he's a solid player.
Yes, solid player, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
he knows
and he
what-
gets better all the time. If you listen now to the album, to the new stuff he's doing solo, he's getting so much better. He practice a lot, I think.
Ah, okay.
Yes, yes.
I have to buy a new album then.
Yes, yes, you totally have to.
Yeah.
Really, he's working on his stuff. Yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, he played and he composed some iconic licks.
Oh, Jesus.
All good.
Yeah. And he's
Iconic.
playing so melodically and
Yeah.
well thought solos.
And he plays.
Yes.
I stole that. Sometimes I do that in my live show
okay.
when I
nice.
come. You know, Santana. There's always some stuff that we can throw in, and yeah, he seems to be
Has killer riffs.
Yeah.
Also wrote killer riffs.
so.
I mean,
You know, all good, and we have to thank him so much for making the guitar.
he's the reason I started playing guitar, for example.
Wow, that's
he
good.
was my idol. And I had posters at first of Axel, and then I saw
Yeah.
Slash. Oh man, he's playing so great.
So when you, before you played the guitar,
Yeah.
what was your picture of music? Now you talk about
Jesus, that was before that. That was like dance or rhythm is a dancer and stuff like this. I was listening to stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
But then, yeah.
Actually, I played for these bands.
Really?
I was a studio guy in Frankfurt, which is 1.5 hours from here, and I played for Snap.
Yeah.
The funny thing is you don't hear much guitar on their albums, but they recorded some weird shit with me, and they are super nice people. So
Okay.
never underestimate
No.
this kind of dance music. It's done by humans, and some of the humans are very nice people and also clever guys.
Sure.
They didn't have any clue about harmonies. They took 3 days to program a string
Really?
line, but they felt the notes, and then they felt it, and the result was all good.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I mean, it would take me 5 minutes to do something, but maybe it would not be that special. And they were authentic, they were unique, and they had a vision. And they didn't stop until it was right.
That's good. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. They're workhorses.
Yeah, workhorses. And of course, their strength was the beat, you know, and so there's nothing wrong about that.
No. Absolutely not.
But okay, that's good. So you and then you had Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses, and start to having a Les Paul and trying to play those riffs and got tab books and from ear and learned this stuff, and that was amazing. Slash was my idol. Then there was a Gary Moore phase because also
yeah.
Les Paul. But at first I was, oh no, that's not good because Slash is not playing. When you're young, you have your hero and he's the greatest.
Yeah.
But then you get more open-minded.
Yeah. I know. But the good thing is you always have to have somebody to connect to. And whoever it is that puts a connection to the music or to this instrument or whatever, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, the generation before had Hank Marvin as heroes. You know, all my heroes had Hank Marvin as a hero, and because he was their idol. We have our idols, and maybe we are now idols for other people. And this is all a human thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And
So how did you find out about Slash or Guns N' Roses? Just from the...
yeah, I mean, for
Yeah.
me, they came along, and for me it was not so exciting because I was already listening to Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, okay,
I had so much background, and I thought, okay, the singer is weird, but the thing is, I like the songs.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Jungle has a meaning. I mean, I'm not this kind of sleaze rock LA hair metal type of guy, but I have to admit the atmosphere and the
They are
spirit.
very raw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can feel these guys live the life that way, and it makes this is an atmosphere of the LA scene at a certain time,
Yes.
which was actually happening,
Yeah.
and to me it's like a culture. I'm not saying it's the best culture, but it's a real authentic American rock culture, as there was a British rock invasion with, you know, with all the bands, the new wave of British metal. And when I was a teenager, I listened to a lot of synthie pop from which started kind of in Germany, but then went to the UK with Depeche Mode and stuff like this. And Depeche Mode started as a guitar band.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and then the synthesizers became hip, and they all switched for keyboards then. But you know, in some of the songs you can hear that some of the lines were written on a guitar. So you know, be always careful if you talk bad about certain things. You might be surprised.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make the researches.
Absolutely. So we have a lot, some 2 questions, I think. John Voss, hi, is it possible to run a preamp pedal into the effects return of different high gain, for different high gain, obviously in the series loop settings? Yeah. Okay. I would say on the MERCURY edition, it's absolutely perfect to use another preamp. The Iridium edition, we actually didn't play it today.
Oh, right.
Yeah, has a specially voiced power amp, which is special. So I would recommend to use the MERCURY edition and have a different preamp, no problem. Okay, last question here, Rainer Z. When we are in the sound of slash, what can you tell us about the using of the tone and volume knobs to get different sounds without touching any pedal?
Yeah, I think with the Les Paul, I'm a big fan of Les Pauls, and the volume knob positions are very important because you get most of the sounds. For me, I really never put it on 10. I actually put it about 9, 8, 7 sometimes. And also with the tone knobs, depends which wiring you have, because if you have a modern wiring, I think it reacts a little bit different. But I think modern wiring, 50s wiring, right?
Yeah, this is 50s wiring. The 50s wiring is way more sensitive. When you turn down the volume, it cleans up and all that stuff.
That's what I love about.
Yeah, me too. And that's the way you can dial in tones on the Les Paul.
Yes. The Les Paul is really versatile, actually.
More than you ever think.
Yeah. Can do so much stuff.
Okay, guys. I think we had a nice 2 hours.
Yeah, yes. It was a lot of fun.
And it was a lot of fun to have you as a guest here.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we might do it again. You never know. The world is small, and we have more guitar heroes.
That's true.
when we had like our little brainstorm about we came up with a list, and we had
way too much. Yeah.
This is not even the third of what was on the list.
Yeah.
So we just chose those because I had some backings or you had some backings, and we kept it kind of simple.
Yeah.
So guys, thanks again. Thanks, Fabian Ratsak.
Thank you.
And we will see again next week. Surprise, because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do something. Stay safe and take care. See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.